Hello YouTube, welcome back to yet another Everness video. This time we're going to look at the latest character on that just released on CN, Iroi, our first limited time support. And she will arrive on Global in 6 more days. And let's jump right into the video. Alright, so these are the things that we'll be talking about. Also for clarification, I'm using footage from the CN server as well as, if necessary, I'll be using footage from other CN content creator, but I'll link them in the description below. And I have to say, CN server is probably going to be closest to the global, but there might still be changes. So please do bear that in mind. Alright, so Iroi is our first limited time healer, and she uses a special energy bar called Imagination. Yes, input the SpongeBob meme. Alright, so Imagination, the energy bar, is the one that you see right above your HP bar, the one that has the sun and the moon sign. Then if you notice carefully, there's kind of a line 1/4 way through, and that's very important. And the way her bar interacts with basically most of her kit. So we'll go through her kit and then we'll correlate that with the bar. Alright, Iroi has five stages of normal attack, and she can use them. The normal attack, if you tap it 5 times, you can gather Imagination, as you can see down below. And you can also gather Imagination by using the drop attack. And there's a second version of her normal attack, which is charge attack. So if you hold your attack button, she will use this attack, and then she will exhaust her Imagination to attack the people around her. It's kind of cool. So basically, to summarize, her attack, normal attack, collect Imagination, and then her charge attack uses Imagination. But of course, there are other ways you can use the Imagination bar. So now we're going to move on to her E. Her E also have 2 modes. So if you just tap E, you will collect Imagination and then heal your whole teammate, provides a team-wide buff, and then also group the enemy. So her E does a lot of things. Alright, so this is going to be the second version of Iroi's E, which is hold E. When you hold E, you will turn your entire team into little sheepies. So I'll do it now. So everyone will turn into sheep, as you can see here. And then they will inherit the element of the character that they replace. And this opened up a new game play style for Iroi, which is on field DPS Iroi. So because the sheepies will inherit Iroi's stats, but their teammates element, so she can still do the element reaction, but she will be on field and fighting for herself. This is another game mode if you wish to play Iroi as main DPS. So that's the second mode of her E, which is to replace her teammate with little sheepies. Right, now we come to Iroi's last kit, which is her Q. Her Q is her ultimate, and her ultimate also depends on the Imagination bar. So remember we talked about that little notch? It is right here. So when her Imagination has 2 modes, when the Imagination bar is to the right hand side of that notch, which is now, it has the kind of a sun icon. When you use your E, it will look like this. It will heal your teammate continuously, and then it will damage enemy continuously in the area. And then it will also bring back one of your teammate that has been turned into sheepy, and they will be on field. You can swap into them, and then they will help you fight the combat. But once the ultimate duration is over, they will turn back into sheepy. So that is one form of her ultimate. So the other form is when she uses her ultimate when the energy bar is to the left hand side of the notch, which is how it looks right now. It has the symbol of the moon. Alright, so now our energy bar is like almost empty. I can also use my out now, so I'll use it now. So in this version, you will heal. You will have 1 instant of attack, and then you'll heal your whole teammate. But there won't be continuous damage to enemy around you, and you won't bring back a teammate from the Shippy mode if we are playing DPS Iroi. So that's the difference between the two. Alright, so I think now I'll include a new segment into my Before You Poo, the numbers segment, because I realize a lot of people do like to see the numbers, and I'll try my best to like live translate this as we go through it together. But so it also helped me to see whether if I miss anything. So this is the normal attack. So this is the numbers for normal attack 1, normal attack 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is at maximum level 80 for Iroi, and then her skill is 888 here, as you can see. And then this is the 4 damage, and then this is charge attack 1, charge attack 2, charge attack 3, and then the exhaustion of imagination required for charge attack. And then this is the Esper reaction bar, you gain how much you gain. And this is counter, the attack percentage for counter. Yeah, so that is the numbers for the normal attack. Nothing special here. You can pause the video if you want to take a closer look. And then this is the E, her normal E, the attack percentage here, the normal attack percentage, and then the buff 20% of Iroi's basic attack. So it doesn't rely on Arc and the console. Is her basic attack, and that's 20%. And then the buff lasts for 20 seconds, and then the healing is 161% based on your basic attack as well. And then the cooldown 12 seconds, and then 8 is how much you get the Esper cycle. 16 is the imagination you get, and when your teammate die and turn into a Shippy, you will get 20 imagination. And then this is the attack rate for the different Shippy. So these two is Shippy number 1, the attack rate. And then this is the attack rate for Shippy number 2, attack rate of Shippy number 3. And then this is the attack rate for their support skill, because they can still earn Esper bar. So this is for DPS, Iroi, and her Shippy's attack rate. And then this is her out. So this is healing rate for her out, 242, which is quite high. And then this is the first burst healing, and then continuous healing 53. And then this is the damage if you have like the out that is to the right hand side of the notch. This is you have damage, and then continuous damage, and then the imagination. That notch is 100, and then you exhaust 8 imagination for each duration. So the higher your bar, the longer you stay in the out mode. And then cooldown 16 seconds, and then the energy used for her out is 100. So this is the numbers. You can pause if you wish to. And then her support skill, basically when you swap over to her, she will attack and then heal everyone. So healing rate 100%, and then get 10 imagination. And then this is the damage rate. And then she got 2 extra damage. This one is the enhancement to her Esper reaction, which is Bloom. This one I'll show you a video because it's easier to show. And then this one is when you unlock this skill, whenever Iroi heals, you will provide 5% defense threat to your whole team, and then last for 20 seconds, which is honestly not that high, if I'm being honest. 5% is not that high. Hopefully they can buff that when it comes to global, but we'll see. Alright, this is Iroi's enhancement to Blossom. So whenever you create a Blossom pistol, she will create an additional one. It is weaker, but the pistol will fire faster. So it's very good for like Blossom team and Charge team. She create at least 20 extra pistol. And alright, so before we move to the next segment, this is something that I wish to talk about, which is about the comparison between the buffers we currently have in game. So currently we have 3 buffers, Sakiri, Haniel, and now Iroi. So their buff percentage is different, and they both have their own pros and cons. So you can see here directly, Sakiri's buff is the highest at 30% team-wide attack damage, and they all 3 are use base attack. So that's no different there. But the downside for Sakiri is it's very inconsistent, because Sakiri's buff comes from her ultimate. And Haniel's and Iroi's come from their skill. So it really depends on how you want to do that. And then Haniel's is 80%, and then Iroi's is 20%. But Iroi's 20%, her buff can also group enemy, which Haniel cannot do. Her buff can also provide healing, which Sakiri and Haniel doesn't do. But if you just want the buff, it is possible for you to just skip Iroi because you can stick with Haniel. But Iroi provides utilities that the other two doesn't. She provides grouping and healing. So this is just a comparison that I wish to kind of make to help you decide whether you want to pull for Iroi or not. Alright, now we are moving into my favorite part of the game, which is the city and exploration part. So now we're going to look at, first we'll look at her skin, Iroi's skin. This is her gacha screen. I have to say, this one, it looks gorgeous. I very much like this art. So let's see her. Alright, this is her unique flyer. It's very cute, I have to say. And then this is the car for the van, I think, for Iroi's van. It is quite cute. And then this is the skin for her gacha, the Great Magician. And since we're already on this page, we are going to talk about, might as well talk about her skin. So this is her normal skin. Then this is her Reef Crystal skin. You can buy it with Reef Crystal. And then the summer skin, also Reef Crystal. You can see the price here. And then this is from the gacha. This is the Bond skin. It's a cute nightgown. And then this is from 999 nights to swap for this. So that is all her skin. They all look cute actually. And then now we can talk about her city skill. Her city skill is rather unique. So she has the passive where you interact with small animals like this. If you just touch them, you will randomly get a character growth material. You can do it 3 times per day, and then there's a maximum of 999. I don't know why they're obsessed with that number. A maximum of 999 materials you can get over the lifetime. So that's one. But what you get, the growth material is totally random. It's RNG based. So that's not that impressive if you ask me. And then same for her life skill is also kind of meh, I would say. So let's go here. It's here. The life skill, increase traffic to the shop. And then lower the food ingredient exhaustion, which is kind of not here nor there. And then this is the taxi, improve the taxi, increase 1000 fonts for each taxi ride that you give. And then the customer satisfaction increase for 25 points, which is also kind of neither here nor there. So her Iroi's city skill, exploration skill is kind of like negligible. Sorry to say. Alright, so now is the time to answer the question, how necessary is their arc? Well, the answer is that depends. But for that, let's look at their arc first. So this is their arc, the lost gate, I believe, the wrong gate. So let's look at their, this is level 1. I'll give you like later the stats later for level 80. So they give flat attack and then attack rate. The attack rate doesn't really matter for buffer Iroi because her buff only works on base attack. So she only cares about the first one, the flat attack rate. The percentage doesn't matter for her buff. And then this one, the effect is increase your attack by 16%. This will go higher when you're like level 80. So this is only work for DPS Iroi. And whenever you heal, your anima damage increase by 30. And then your other character gain 15% damage. Lasts for 20 seconds. Cannot be stacked. So the weapon here, if you only want buffer, Iroi she doesn't really need this. Because you won't be able to use most of the stat here. So the percentage attack, useless for her because she only works on base attack. And then the percentage here doesn't work. And then here anima damage doesn't work. And then the only buff you can get is the 15% on general damage. But it really depends on you whether you think spending maximum PT of 90 pulls on to get 15%. That's, I mean, whether that's good or not for you as a buffer, up to you. For me, it doesn't really necessary. But for DPS Iroi, you definitely want this because the attack is good for you, and then the increase in anima damage good for you. So the arc necessary for DPS Iroi, solo DPS Iroi, but buffer not really necessary. And then now we're going to look at the alternative to the Lost Gate. Alright, so these are the alternative for Iroi's arc. So the one in the middle is the Lost Gate, her signature arc. So I put it like this because we are going to compare the different playstyle. So for buffer Iroi, the replacement is the one on the left hand side. It's called Mindful Royale. You can exchange it in the shop. It's an A rank weapon. The base attack is 550. And because Iroi's buff based on work on base attack, the difference is really not that high. It's like 15%, 15 digit different, and then you lose the additional buff from the signature arc's second effect. But I mean, it's not really different that much. I would say it's like 90% if the signature is 100%. So it is very easily to go and replace it with rank A arc for Iroi buffer. But for Iroi DPS, the replacement is the arc from the Battle Pass that you buy from the shop. So that one is around like 85% effective as the signature. So for DPS, you do want to get the signature, but for buffer, you can settle with the A rank. It's perfectly fine. Alright, now it's time to look at the Awakening and how necessary they are. Before we look at Awakening, let's look at their Resonance. So Resonance number 3, if you get 3 Awakening, this is Resonance number 1. Your skill increased by 1 level, and then when Iroi is on team, everyone's defense increased by 30%. It's kind of alright. And then if you have 6 Awakening, everyone's crit damage increased by 25%. And then whenever you get 1 Shippy, Iroi's attack increased by 15%, and then crit rate increased by 5%. So this is Awakening 6 is definitely geared for DPS Iroi. Because in total, because you can get 3 Shippies in total, so you can get 45 increase in general damage and then 15 increase in crit rate. That's for Resonance. So now we're going to look at Awakening. I'm going to use, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 easier. So number 1, when you are backstage, you gain 3 imagination, the energy bar every second. And then whenever you go into combat, your imagination instantly go to maximum. It's a good quality of life Awakening. It's not really necessary as well. And then number 2 is whenever a teammate use their skill, Iroi will summon one of her Shippy to attack the enemy and then deal 20% of her damage and then heals everyone by 120%. So that's a good healing tools if you don't switch her out. And then the cooldown is 5 seconds. It's a good healing tool, utility tool. And number 3, increase her healing effect by 36%. Number 4, increase the damage of all the Shippies. So this is definitely for DPS Iroi. And number 5 is whenever she heals, she will raise everyone's damage by 15% and last for 20 seconds. So that will improve her general buff from 20 to 35%, which is higher than Sakiri. So this is the buffer. And then number 6 is whenever you use her out and then bring back a character, they will get 100% full HP and then 50 Esper reaction and then 50 out energy. So that is also for DPS. Depends on who you summon back. If you summon back like a character like Hotori that is a good sub DPS, it could be useful. But the usefulness depends on like who you summon back. So yeah, so that is all the Awakening. So now we'll look at, because she has 2 different playstyles, so the recommendation for the different playstyle is also different. Alright, so this is the recommended Awakening for the different playstyles. So for DPS Iroi, you want 4 because it increased the damage of all your Shippies, and then 6 depending on who you took in your team, and then 1 for QOL. And then buffer Iroi, you want 5 because it increased your general attack buff to your whole team, and then 1 for QOL, and then 2 for additional healing if you need it. So whether her Awakening necessary, I would say no. it's not really much. 15% is not much for buffer, and then the DPS doesn't increase much as well as for the CP. So I don't know. It's really up to you. For me, I don't think it's necessary. All right, now we're gonna come to the last segment, which is the team com. And for Iroi, you can play her 3 ways, but I'm going to put 2 team here. So number 1 is into Shinku's team, like specific DPS, because Shinku's book with charge, and then Iroi's Blossom help charge a lot because her firing rate is 0.5 per second instead of Nanali's 1. So she will replace Nanali in that team. So in that team, she will be expensive because you need Shinku. And then DPS Iroi team just is for it's good for if you don't have a build team, but if you just want to play a DPS, so you can pull for Iroi and then just make sure you have incantation because her CP will inherit the element of the teammate that died, that got replaced. So incantation and anima will increase Iroi's damage. So get Adler or Sakiri or Paijang, just make sure one of them is incantation. And then the other 2, you can just put everyone you want. They can be like level 1 in everything because the CPs inherit Iroi's stats and not her teammate. The CPs only inherit their element. So that's DPS Iroi team. That team is incredibly cheap. You just need Iroi. And then incantation, Adler is free. And then the 2 characters, just you don't even need to build. So that's cheap. And then the third team is the general Iroi's buffer team. She can go into anywhere because she's a team-wide attack buffer. So she can go into any team. So yeah, so her team is extremely expensive or extremely cheap, depending on you. But for me, I feel like her team is quite cheap because she can go anywhere. But her world is very versatile. Alright, so that is the end for the video. And what do you think about our first limited support? And let's just talk about her role in the meta. She's our first limited support character. And I have to say her numbers doesn't really improve that much from the current character we have, which is Haniel and Sakiri, in terms of buffer, but she provides a lot more than that. And whether you think she's a must pull or not is really up to you. She's a very comfortable character because her healing is really quite high. She provides continuous healing. So I will be pulling for it myself. You can follow me on Twitch when she comes up on Global. We'll do a build stream for her. I'll put my link in the description below. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. For more guides on characters and events and everything related to NTE. Bye everyone. Take care of yourselves.